and subscribe.
I'm sorry. Do you really hate me that bad?
I love Benjamin Netanyahu is a very fair prime minister that treats everyone very fairly. I can't wait to go to Israel and kiss the what?
The wall.
I can't do that. I'm sorry.
Get her! Get her!
We are watching unbelievable live pictures outside Norton Hospital in Kentucky. A man named Mitch McConnell is rolling downhill on what appears to be an unattended hospital bed. Medical staff are desperately trying to catch him, and they're still not close enough. This crowd cannot believe what they're seeing.
Chemical Minor Symphony. Chemical. Johnny can listen to a beautiful masterpiece. Now I'm flock to you.
He is having a breakdown.
Just say the right pronoun!
Ladies and gentlemen, hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday night. It is Hump Day, my dudes, and I am very excited for a wonderful show full of coping and seething by some of our favorites. And I use that term very loosely around here. We've got global conflicts igniting on rafts with clubs. We've got Florida drug pimps and their arsenals getting confiscated. We've got Ambient Arms winning contracts. We'll see about that. SBA announcing a new pistol brace in 2026 where we have free SBRs. Okay, fair enough. We have people crashing out. We've got OSITE, in the same way as SBA, making an MOS dedicated site after the MOS has been discontinued. Which it's like, they were probably developing it for a while, and then they saw the announcement of the Gen 6, and they were like, damn. Well, we're going to release this thing anyways, okay? And hope it does well. And then we've got Otter Creek Labs with a new Freudian slip there. With a new suppressor. And then Cloud Defensive is updating their TOS or something like that. And then we've got to face the hard truth, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for me to get a job, okay? It's sad that it had to happen at 30 years old, but I'm pretty much resigned to the fact that I'm going to have to get a real job. And so I've picked out a couple, or really one that I'm really interested in, that I think will make for an interesting change of career path later on. And I'm very excited to show you guys the new job that I've applied for. Hoping I get it. Fingers crossed. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get into that, Richard, how's your night going?
Good. Does that mean I get to take over the stream now? You take over normal life and
Listen, if okay, this is gonna bite me in the butt in a second, but if I get the job, yes, I will hand over the channel in its entirety to you.
guys, you heard it.
I will legally transfer ownership to Richard James Cranium, and I will leave the internet forever if I get this new job. Now, I will say that it's a long shot, okay, but I put in my resume. I'm throwing my hat in the ring, so to speak. Don't think it's gonna happen though. Don't think it's gonna happen. Hail, Richard. John for Fuhrer. No, that job's not open yet. Okay, not open yet, as far as I'm aware. Not
think it's been open
president.
for a
No,
while.
no. Well, let's check in on our friends on the other side of the world, shall we? Well, kind of in the middle of the world, I suppose. Tough but fair, or tough but moral. How Israel phoned a terrorist and offered to kill him without touching his family, and he took the deal. Now, this is a headline that was floating around, and it's kind of a crazy headline when you get down into it. It's like, hey, you know, we're the good guys, right? If you look throughout the history books and you figure out that the good guys won every time somehow. But anyways, these are the good guys, and they're saying, hey, you know what? If we just, kill you, we won't have to kill, murder, torture, rape your family, your wife, and children. So maybe you should just give yourself up. Tough but moral. Very, very interesting, very Semitic coded headline. Now, the description is even worse. The IDF could have blown his wife and family apart, but didn't want to if they could avoid it. They literally called him, who does that? Only one of the most moral militaries in history. Okay. All right. That's a interesting take there, I suppose. You could do the whole not murdering his family and kids in front of him. I mean, that was always on the table, surprisingly. In fact, I would say most other militaries try and do that from the get-go. It's kind of like the standard in terms of modern warfare, okay? But yeah, thanks, I guess, for not. It's like, you're welcome. I guess. I mean, maybe this is an improvement for the IDF. So maybe they're moving in the right direction, but most moral is crazy. Now, it is important to remember that when the IDF claims to be the most moral army in the world, they're correct according to their own moral system, which is like, not the same as everybody else's. It's a little bit different, couple little small differences in there, couple little tiny changes in there that just makes things look a little different. Okay, now, in other world news, okay, as promised, things are totally heating up. We've got the greatest naval battle of the past 50 years. Chinese and Philippine Navy and Coast Guard forces. I love that this is the Philippine Navy here. Let me blow it up for you guys. You guys can see it a little better. Oh, shoot. Where did it go? So I think I have the clip. I downloaded them all, so I better have it. There it is. There we go. Okay. Here. Is the Philippine Coast Guard, very advanced, very technologically savvy here. Anyways, the greatest naval battle of the last 50 years, Chinese and Philippine Navy Coast Guard forces fought fiercely with rubber boats and paddles and oars earlier this week near the disputed Second Thomas Shoal in the West Philippines, South China Sea. Fight or don't over the 9-dash line accordingly. Now, what's really funny about this is China has done, the whole melee fighting with a couple of their neighbors, right? Because wasn't it China and Pakistan not too long ago that were, having border conflicts where they just basically agreed to hit each other over the head with like clubs and stuff?
That's been ongoing for quite a while, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's something, I guess. Honestly, it seems more like just blowing off steam because, I mean, obviously, like they're not trying to even kill each other. They're just like, I'm gonna hit you. Oh, you're gonna hit me back, and then we'll leave. Because they can't actually accomplish anything. There's no possibility of resolution here. These guys are just kind of blowing off steam and trying to like one up the other guys. It's a matter of pride more than actually accomplishing something. Anyway, so yeah, conflicts around the world getting out of hand, some would say, going absolutely crazy. Now, checking in on our neck of the woods, Florida. Following a tip, FDC's Circuit 6 Pinellas South SOTEC officers joined forces with St. Petersburg Police Department to conduct a planned search, recovering firearms, illegal narcotics, and cash, resulting in the offender's arrest. The success of this operation highlights how FDC's probation and parole officers are making an impact across Florida and keeping our communities safe. Now, of course, that's their spin on it. But what we're actually interested in is the arsenal. I think that's a word one could use when going over the eclectic supply of firearms. So, Richard, what shotgun is that?
I believe that's going to be a Remington. Let me see.
Is that a Remington? We have a Remington hunting shotgun. Right? Probably fine. Probably works. In terms of our ARs, we have a Smith & Wesson Sport 1? Maybe? Although it has a fluted barrel. A Panther?
No, I think this is probably going to be... Look at the forward assist.
Yeah, it looks wonky, but I don't know if that's just aftermarket or what, because it also has like the Ergo rubber grip on it. It's something. But then, of course, what people are probably most drawn to is a specific rifle here in the middle, which is like worse than a Bear Creek Arsenal. So we've got a huge stainless steel barrel. We've got a short key mod, red anodized handguard, red anodized dust cover, grip, safety, castle nut, end plate, buffer tube, charging handle, forward assist, takedown pins. And of course, an MFT stock. Of course, it has an MFT stock on it with no sights. In fact, it is ironic, I suppose, that the only thing that has a sight is one of his AR-10s. Now, if I'm looking at this correctly, I believe this is a SIG 716, which is actually like pretty decent as far as a relatively inexpensive AR-10 goes. And it does appear to have some sort of glass on it. I'm not sure if it's quality. Maybe that's an Aero Precision mount. I'm not entirely sure from this image. It does have the famed grip pod, however. Very nice grip pod. And then some sort of hunting rifle of unknown origin. Now, if you look at the top here, what you might have also seen is a chrome Desert Eagle. Like, that's pretty drippy. If you have a solid hard chrome Desert Eagle, you know, that probably goes hard, right? If you don't know what you're looking at. You got a MAC-10. What are these cranks? No, what do they call them? Dracos? Whatever it is. I don't know. AK people are weird. A Glock, probably in 40. Obviously, it has the rubber grips on it. He got his Magnum, his carry piece, and then I don't know what this magazine here is on the bottom right. Do you see this one, Richard?
I think that's for the AR-10.
But when I look at it, like, because that's the AR-10 Magwell, that maybe it's just the perspective of the camera warping things. Like maybe it's just like a really wide angle lens, so it's warping everything at the edges. But that looks bigger than 308 because it's sitting next to 7.62 by 39. That's 308. That looks huge. Looks humongous. And then, of course, you got a selection of Magpul 30s and 40s and a few magazines for everything else. Oh, and also a cutlass. By the way, don't forget the cutlass here. Very, very nice addition there. And what is funny is that the ammunition looks to be 6 or 7 shotgun shells and maybe a magazine's worth of 5.56 and 7.62 combined. Maybe it is. Probably not, though. But he's got the clipazines, right? He's got the clipazine for his Glock, for his AK, and for, you know, maybe that is for the SIG 716. But if that is the Magpul 308 drums, I do not see those very often. I hope it works for you, bro. Yeah. But what a nice collection of firearms. It is nice that the only thing that has sights on them are the two 308s and bigger. Technically, the Sport 1 or whatever it is has iron sights on it, so that's also usable. But what a wonderful collection. I don't know about you, but I feel much safer now that these are off the streets.
100%. That anodized red, ooh, that's lethal.
It is very gross. That's what it is. Although I always say, you know, like, oh, these people don't even have optics on them. It's not like they use them. You know, it's like even if it had a you know, an aim point T2 and a NGOL out front, it's like it's not like they'd use them. So who cares whether it has sights on it or not? It's really just about vibes. You know, it's a vibes based shootout. Really, where do the bullets go? And it's kind of just a vibe. You kind of just feel it out. Also, very ostentatious bed covering. That is true for people pointing out the red everywhere. You know, very passionate man, I'm sure. Anyways, speaking of passionate men, we have Brandon FTW over here on X talking about Ambient Arms, which is the magical cooling flow through suppressor design that is definitely not just drawing in ambient air through an outer shell and reducing its internal volume. It's definitely doing a lot of other really, really cool things, even though their designer got really upset at one of the suppressor engineers when he was talking to him at SHOT Show. But I'm sure it's not all snake oil. Anyways, so Ambient Arms, they came out with their 7.62 LR suppressor today and stated that the military came to them with requirements for the can to maintain precision over a higher round count and not induce mirage and also flash suppression. It was validated by the Army Research Lab. Now, I don't know if any of that stuff is true. I haven't seen any official documentation on it. It's kind of just a rumor from one of the rumor mills that is usually pretty good about the information that gets put out. However, I will say that while the Ambient Arms suppressor does seem a little bit like snake oil in terms of like overall sound reduction, because they claim it's like 15 decibels better than like a traditional flow through can, which on its face seems pretty ridiculous considering you have less internal volume because of course you have the outer Venturi thingamajig that's just an outer shell. It's not actually doing anything in terms of suppressing. But when it comes to running cooler, they do appear to actually run cooler. So especially for a bolt gun or for something that's going to have a much lower rate of fire, if you can reduce mirage, like say your mirage point on a standard high back pressure can or even flow through can is like 10 rounds, if you can take that out to 30 rounds, well, in a DMR or a long range precision application, that's actually super helpful. Right, because you're putting off that mirage, you're putting off that glare, you're putting off that barrier, a significant portion, and allowing you to get kind of full utilization of your gun for a lot longer. Now, there's other ways to get around that with suppressor covers, whether it's the fabric types or like the carbon fiber types or whatever else it might be. But of course, if you can just keep the suppressor cooler in the first place, maybe that is where the ambient technology, the ambient suppressors actually shine. Not in terms of overall sound reduction, but in terms of a combo of sound reduction, low back pressure, keeping the suppressor cool, and getting rid of mirage. Probably one of the suppressor's strong suits, because as far as I'm aware right now on the market, it's really the only one that has this sort of exterior cooling venting technology that is designed to actually keep the outer shell of the suppressor cooler. Oh yeah, I'm sure it makes a huge difference, especially for PRS guys or for just a DMR application where you're not necessarily using it in a high volume application where maximum sound suppression is your goal, but a mix of sound suppression, flash suppression, low back pressure, yada, 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 while keeping the outer shell cooler could be a really good thing, especially in 30 cal, right? Whether it's for 308, whether it's for 300 Norma Mag, whether it's for 6.5 Creedmoor, you know, any of these other calibers that are more oriented towards a DMR style application definitely makes sense. Red Right Hand says, I still want them to send me one. I don't know if they're shipping right now because I think they, again, the EXO 762 LRs launched today. So I don't know if they're shipping yet, but I'm sure you can pick one up for like $1,500 because they're rather expensive. They are not cheap cans. Mr. Noom says this silencer is great for bolt guns, and I've been saying that the whole time. Well, I agree. Okay, the 30 cal version of it makes a lot more sense than the 5.56 version of it, because it's like the 5.56 version is still going to get very hot, because they always do like you can shoot 30 rounds and it will maintain a lower heat signature or a lower temperature. You can still grab it after 30 rounds, and it's like, well, that's nice and all, but I shoot like 300 rounds at a time, for a range day or a training session. So it's cool that it is cooler, right, than the competition in some circumstances, but it still isn't going to make that much of a difference to me if I'm shooting a very high volume of fire. Now, I would be interested in seeing the delta between after an hour long range session of like 300 rounds, let's say, and it's at like a traditional can's at like 800 degrees or 700 degrees, and this one's sitting at 500, right? Now, that is a pretty big delta if true. So I'd like to see that. I'd like to see real third-party testing in a bunch of different environments, in a bunch of different times, and like over a more realistic scenario than just a 30-round mag dump, what the actual temperature delta is. Because at some point, the heat is just going to soak up and it's going to just be at its like maximum. There's whatever the technological term for it is, or the technical term for it is, when the material has held as much heat energy as it can, if there's any real difference over a long period of time. All right. Hell, shalom, Starfish Prime. Hope you're doing well out there. Anyway, so that is the new from Ambient Arms. Hope it works good. It's still very, very expensive. Now, talking about the new, okay. SB Tactical says today, brace yourself. Now, I don't know about you, Richard, but I feel like the SBA3 was really all you ever needed in terms of a brace. Like, it's pretty good. It's basically just a stock. And I know that, like, obviously that's, you don't want to tell the ATF that it's actually just a stock, but spoiler alert, that's how everyone uses it, is just as a stock. And the SBA3, yeah, it's like a little floppy on the bottom, but essentially when you're actually shooting it's just a stock. Like, it just works. It does a good job. And then you have the SBA4, and it's like, well, some people like it more because it's comfier and it's got more surface area, but it's a little bit floppier. So some people are like, oh, I like the SBA3 over the SBA4. The SBA5, which I have somewhere around here, I think it's actually on the Mark 1. It's my only pistoled gun. That's like fine. I think it's good. I don't think you need to change anything. I thought the SBA5 was really good. So it's like, yeah, the SBA3, which I find is just adequate. The SBA4 is, some people like it, some people don't. And the SBA5 is like better than both of them. But again, it's like, why are we still updating these? It's 2026, and this seems like the wrong era to be pushing new brace technology for ARs, when that's kind of going to go away, I would guess, in the next 10 years. Yeah, see, I think the SBA5 is like perfect. It does all the things. It's comfortable. It's got a cheek weld. It's adjustable. It's lightweight. It's got QDs. It's like, SBA5 is pretty darn good. And then they show you the SBA6, 7/27/26. And also, something that I have to say is that companies need to stop doing this. I'm actually now annoyed. Okay, Keltec did it. Well, everybody does it. They're like, hey, here's a teaser for our teaser. Here's our announcement for an announcement that will come at some point in the future, right? So like Keltec did it with the new pistol that is launching in 2 days on Friday. These guys are saying 7/27. Like, it's just a brace. You don't actually need to tease the market with this. This is not a movie. This isn't Hollywood. You can just drop what it is and give us a launch date and we'll be fine with it. Okay? You don't need to do this hype beast marketing nonsense that is creeping into every facet of our lives. Just announce the product and drop it. But listen, if you're just looking at it, SBA6, it looks a lot like the SBA5 minus the triangle portion. It looks like it has a big rubber pad on the bottom. Probably still has QDs. It looks like it's still adjustable. I don't get the point when we already have the SBA 5, which again is a pretty damn good stock. I mean, brace. It's really good, you know? But again, it's like, this isn't novel. This isn't new. This isn't interesting. It's just probably a slightly updated SBA 5. Like, honestly, it looks exactly like the SBA 5, but if you cut out the little triangle section here, right? The connective tissue between the actual stock or shouldering portion of it and the body itself, you know, it looks very similar. Like that's all they did was just get rid of the connective tissue there. Yeah, exactly. It looks like a minimalist brace. But again, it's 2026. I only have one pistol. You know, everything else is SBR at this point in time. I know that that's not, you know, the way that everybody likes to run it, but there's so many good pistol braces out there already from yourself, SBA, that I don't really think you need to be updating it at all. And I don't think sales can be that hot, right? Am I crazy? Sales have got to be hurt just by one, it's the Trump slump 2.0, but also just with free SBRs. Like, there's obviously a lot higher demand for SBR, which is going to eat into some of the demand for pistol braces, right?
Yeah, I don't see these being a big seller.
Yeah, I mean, who cares? It's like, I'm not particular, but the SBA 3 I think is fine. The SBA 4 is like also fine.
Tough.
It's well, wait, what do you dislike about the SBA 4?
The little pieces might as well not even be there. They collapse.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just not too complaining about my SBA 4s that I've used. But I mean, to me, I thought it was fine, comfy. It's more rubbery and plasticky, or sorry, it's more rubbery than plasticky, right?
Yeah.
And then SBA 5s, I think, are like basically perfect. Like, they don't do anything other than a stock. Like, the SBA 5 is so good on the Mark 1, even if I SBR'd it, like, I wouldn't immediately get rid of it. Like, oh, I gotta get rid of this. This is so bad. You know, I gotta put a regular, you know, SOTMOD stock on it or whatever it is, or a Magpul DT. It's like, no, it's fine. It doesn't bug me. It just works. People liking the tail hook. The tail hook is the one that I've never gotten because it's like really hard and plastic and has very little surface area on the back, whereas the SBA 3, 4, and 5 both have a lot of surface area on the back, so they're more like a traditional stock. But I'm not one for minimalist stuff. You know, I've never needed an MFT or any of those other super minimalist stocks. I think those are all kind of bunk. But again, I hate the teaser trailer aspect of it all. It's like, you can just launch a product. Its braces have been out for over a decade now. We don't need to be doing a hype beast launch trailer for what is essentially a updated version of what's already on the market. Just release the product. Like, just give us photos, give it to your favorite influencers, and they'll talk about how good it is. Really, I think most SBA sales, SBA tactical sales, go through, you know, retail partners, you know, so like anyone that sells a complete pistol, quote unquote, SB Tactical will be like, hey, here's the SBA 6. So I don't even think you need to market it to us. I don't think individual sales are the bulk of SBA Tactical's, you know, brace sales. It's to other retail partners, not to us, if that makes sense. We buy the products, yes, at the end of the day, but the products themselves go to, like, you know, Smith & Wesson or Ruger or anybody that sells a complete pistol package right from the factory. All right. Oh, 100%. Yeah, Irish Spartan says SB Tactical sales are heavier on complete guns. 100%. 100%. Probably like 2 to 1 or 3 to 1. All right. Well, this will be just a short little update. Somebody is very upset at me, and that is Tasker Network. Every time I talk about Tasker Network, he gets very upset. Tater Network, some call him. I know that there's like some drama with him and how he got his start and whatnot, but I don't really care about any of that. He just gets so upset anytime I talk about him or any of his articles or clips or stupid things that he said in the past and the allegations that he said against me, like that I'm colluding with other companies to take down the Mark One in lieu of the high car contract. Just absolutely retarded, asinine takes on his on his part. But I think this is funny. I think this makes me look way better, dude. I love the McDonald's outfit. That is my favorite template to use for the focus clips thumbnails. You have Mike in the background giving the Roman with the based. I think that is very funny. So, I mean, to me, this is just like a perfect amalgamation of my thumbnails and what you can get in my videos. But anyways, he's calling me a retarded dipshit. Not very nice. Beating a dead horse to feign relevance, which is quite funny. Because if you go over to his page, I think he has, let's see, 22,000 followers, 139 likes. Ah, ouch. Ooh, ow, rough. Dude. Ouch. 139 likes, 22,000 followers. Comments are limited on every post. Ah, bro. Like, if you're that sensitive, maybe you just shouldn't be online. Like, limiting comments on your posts, just all of them by default because people say mean words to you. Ah, cringe. Very cringe, Tasker. But anyways, congratulations, Tasker. You're still going to be in my upcoming video that I'm working on. Okay, I'm scripting it now. So get ready, boy. Get ready, boy. You're going to be featured, boy. Prominently, I should say. You're going to like it. You're going to love it. Okay, crash out harder next time, please. Is this guy trying to get us to give him views? Very possible. I don't know. He just seems really upset anytime I talk about him. Listen, okay, you didn't have to update your article. You didn't have to go on that diatribe, but you did. And now we're here. Fun for us. Lightsport says he's too dumb for us to go. Thanks. Well, I mean, you know, glass houses and all of that. Anyways, let's talk about something else that's also irrelevant, also outdated, also ugly and retarded. We got Osite coming out with a direct mounted optic for the Glock MOS system. Now, of course, the timing probably couldn't be worse. The Glock MOS system has been discontinued outside of MIL and LE sales about 5 months ago. Now, that being said, of course, you can still find MOS guns new at your local gun store and other places, I'm sure. And there are, you know, probably what, if I had to guess, 5 million of them in the United States. So there's still like a huge backlog or just market supply of MOS styled handguns. So Osite is doing the thing that I think so far, there's been a couple other optic companies that have done it. I want to say Gideon has a direct mount MOS option. Yeah, so maybe just Gideon, HoloSun, and now Osite. Now, the Osite decided to go a bit of a different route. So you can see it is very, very low on the slide. It also has a very heavy rear bias, as Just a Gun Guy says, kind of looks like a spoiler on the car. But they decided to go with a top-mounted emitter. Now, most companies use a bottom emitter, which, you know, you guys can argue the positives and negatives of being a top or being a bottom when it comes to an emitter. I'll let you guys be the judge of that. However, to me, it just looks very ugly. And it's also, you know, 5 months too late. I'm sure they'll still sell relatively well for people out there who have MOSs and just either haven't bought a HoloSun SCS or whatever the Gideon option is, and, you know, are looking to upgrade in quotation marks, to an Osite. So you can see some more pictures of it here. It has the top mounted windage and elevation because the emitter is actually up here in the top of the housing. And boy, oh boy, is that hole thick on top. And that's the problem with top mounted emitters, as we'll get into. Now, I have used other optics that have top mounted emitters, and they all basically look like this. You have a, you know, almost a 1/2 inch of aluminum up top because, well, in some cases, the battery or the elevation, the windage, the emitter, all the electronics have to be in the top, which is why it's so thick. The advantage of that is that it pushes the window lower so that, as you can see here with this handy dandy picture, the factory Glock sights, which aren't particularly good, co-witness through the window. Now, in my opinion, I actually don't really like that unless it's for some uber tactical duty defend your life gun, because if you have a small window, I actually don't really want it cluttered up with iron sights. Again, that's for just on the range, normal shooting purposes, right? Stuff like I do, nerd competition testing. I actually don't really want iron sights in the window. If it's your concealed carry gun or your, bedside gun or anything else that, you're actually betting your life on it, maybe then your argument for backup iron sights is valid. If it gives you a little bit of peace of mind, that's all well and good. But again, for me personally, I'd actually just rather have more of the window, especially when it has a small window to begin with. So, gun slaps of all of the red dots I've seen, this is definitely one of them. Very true. Now we got red dots with mullets. Yeah, it does have a weird look to it, doesn't it? That weird rearward bias. Good idea. Shame it's an O-Sight and not Holosun or someone else cool. Again, Holosun already has an SES. Koa at home. What the dot doing? The DVD style battery tray is so good. Well, I mean, it's the same one that Holosun uses a lot of times with their side loaded battery tray, which most of the time I just see people complaining about, honestly. But here is the actual update and video on it from Glock Store going over what the new dot is. Can we refresh the page? We'll start at the beginning. Shoot.
Optics on the market have the laser diode on the bottom projecting up. This one is on the top projecting down. Couple things there. What happens? Okay, so it projects down and the glass is on the front, tilted, slanted downward, and that prevents any glare that you would see from the sun or lights or something else getting into your optic. It's pretty phenomenal, it really is.
Now, that's partially true. So a lot of the times when you have a forward elevated light source, like the sun, usually when you're outdoors, the sun is up high and it's glaring down on the emitter. That's what actually causes the reflection in your glass. Now, it's not the same in every optic, depending on the way that you place the emitter, right? So like on Holosun, red dots, the emitter's on the bottom for their ARO series. However, if you look at the SIG red dots, they're actually on the side. So they're mounted at like a really weird angle. Again, talking about the rifle dots, not the pistol dots. However, it's the same thing is true for top mounted emitters. It's just the direction of the light is different. So for instance, now if you have a top mounted emitter and you have a low angle light source coming in this way, you're going to get some form of glare. So think about like if you're outside and it's dark out and you're raising your gun here and there's like cars is going to be a low angle light source that is actually going to cause some sort of glare. So you're not removing the glare, you're just changing how it appears. So instead of from the sun or some sort of elevated light source, it's going to be from a low angle light source now. So there's no real way to get rid of it unless you're using some really weird geometry or coding or a different emitting style rather than an LED based emitter. But again, it's just going to change where the glare appears, not the glare itself.
The O-Sight SE MOS is a solid piece of glass, and it's basically projecting from the top, so it's not a reflex, it's actually aspherical, which means that it's really just projecting into that single piece of glass. So what we're noticing, okay, just by looking at these things, is the dot or the circle dot inside the O-Sight SE is much crisper than the Holosun. And the fact that it has a...
Maybe, but again, that just has to do with the lenses. So I don't remember if the SCS has an aspheric lens. Usually speaking, an aspheric lens is a little more expensive. It's a little higher quality. So yes, it will allow the dot to present better. That is going to depend on your eyes and if you have an astigmatism, between mild and severe. Because like most of us, astigmatisms are on a spectrum, right?
Battery will ensure that it works wherever you are. So whether it's nighttime or whether it's daytime or whether it's been in your pocket for a long time or been in your bag for a long time, when you pick it up, it's going to work. So most optics on the market have the...
So new O-Sight MOS is direct mount and closed MOS optic with an aspheric lens. Watch our latest YouTube video for all the details. I suppose that aspect of it is interesting because I think it is the only and closed MOS emitter option on the market, right? Because the Holosun SCS for MOS, which is a mouthful of acronyms, is open emitter, and I believe the Gideon option for for Glock MOS is also open emitter. So this is closed emitter, which some people are certainly going to like. However, if you're an MOS fanboy and you really want a direct mount optic to it without a plate, well, I feel like you probably already have a Holosun SCS for it. Do I see people dropping the SCS to throw on an O-sight? Maybe some of them, but I still don't think that's going to be a huge market for them. It'll probably sell well enough. I think O-sight has enough influencers, enough market presence to push enough optics to be moderately successful. But if this had come out like a year ago, now that would probably be too fast for O-sight, but if this had come out a year ago, probably would have had a lot more hype behind it and had a lot more potential in terms of sales, right? Well, I don't know if it's necessarily tall AF, but you have to remember that the body has to go somewhere. So whether it's on the bottom, and that's where, you know, the battery windage elevation emitter is, or it's on the top, it's got to go somewhere. And so for the O-sight SE MOS, whatever they're calling it, all of that stuff is up top, right? So you actually have the battery on the bottom, which is interesting because I've seen other ones do the battery on the top since it's already so thick. Then you have windage, elevation, emitter all up top. Now, there are other options that have been on the market for a long, long time that have already had a top-mounted emitter. This is an optic that I think I have a video on this channel, or maybe it's on the Gun.Deals channel, but I have it on the Viridian RFX 45, and there are like 12 different versions of this optic floating around. Now, this, of course, is not a direct mount MOS, which is a selling point of the new O-sight, but I'm just using this to show you that yes, there have been, you know, top mounted emitter pistol dots out for a long time. And again, there, I think Viridian makes one, Gideon makes one, and all the other Adaball, whatever they call it, you know, I think they call theirs like the ARD, another red dot, you know, just there's a bunch of people that use this exact design, which is a top mounted emitter for an acro style red dot, which again, doesn't get rid of the glare. It just changes where the glare comes from, if that makes sense. Yeah, Steiner MPS, again, it's been around for a long time. It's not necessarily that novel. So you have, again, you instead of the front glass being angled back, it's angled forward because the emitter is in a different location, so everything kind of has to be flipped. And with the RFX 45, you still have that super thick top hole, but you also have the battery, windage elevation, and emitter up there. So yeah, that's kind of my takeaway on the Viridian RFX 45. Like, the body is really tough. It's a green dot, which I don't prefer. I think it's 5 MOA, which is also like not my favorite for a small window, but it's fine. It's serviceable. The problem with these red dots is that they're really expensive. They're like 400 credits, which for a Viridian is insane. When you're $100 more expensive than a Holosun, than a lot of Holosuns, it's like you're too expensive for what you are. Way too expensive for what you are. All right. Honestly, they're probably pretty darn close to an MPS in terms of price. Because what's an MPS go for now? Like 450? So these are sitting at like 400. Not a compelling buy in 2026. But speaking of compelling buys in 2026, I know a lot of you guys out there love the Otter Creek Labs OCM 5. The OCM 5 is an overbore suppressor, a la the Mark 12, a la the Gordy, a la the anything that has a big honking can on the end of your gun, but you don't want it to be too long, so you have it overbore. Overbore just meaning that there is a portion of the suppressor that is actually over the barrel itself. So the OCM 6 is their new updated version of it that I think launched today. Now, I actually talked to Otter Creek Labs today to get them to come on the podcast. And I don't think they can make this week count, but I think we are tentatively scheduled for Monday of next week. So next Monday, we should have Otter Creek Labs on the show. Now, the OCM 6, if you guys are not familiar with the OCM 5, again, long, overbore, but this is the new version of it with a 6mm bore. So you can run, 6 Creed, 6 Arc, 6.5 Grendel. No, don't do that. But you can run your 6mm cartridges through it as well. This version is lighter, lower back pressure, and just more gooder, I suppose, than the older OCM5. Okay, so the OCM6 is a 6mm bore OPS AE pattern suppressor. Now, OPS is a certain type of barrel that has a certain collar dimension, so you can use it with that overbore mounting system. Constructed out of titanium and Inconel. It is a second generation to the very successful OCM5 by making the inner core of the suppressor DMLS 3D printed Inconel, but keeping the outer tube housing machined titanium. We were able to make it light but strong. Compared to the original OPS 12 AEM5, the OCM6 is 24% lighter, so 5 ounces lighter. So that is, again, a titanium shroud around a Inconel internal geometry that's printed. So again, 5 ounces. These are big cans. These are big, heavy cans. They just are. There's no way around it, even though they are over the bore suppressors. And so they're, they balance better, I suppose you could say, right? Just because they're not quite as far out, so they pull that weight a little bit back. They're still big and heavy cans, shaving 5 ounces, not too bad. The biggest improvement to the new OCM6 is back pressure. Historically, the AEM5 and the OCM5 are very, very quiet suppressors at the muzzle, with one drawback, that being back pressure. The OCM6 sacrifices a little of the muzzle suppression to gain shooters' ear suppression and back pressure performance. What does that mean exactly? Let's say you were standing 10 feet away from somebody shooting an OCM6 versus OCM5. 10 feet away, the OCM5 is going to sound quieter, but to the person shooting the gun, the OCM6 is going to sound quieter because it has less port pop. The OCM6 is all about making the shooter's experience more enjoyable, both in terms of sound and gas management. Because of the new bore, you are no longer limited to just 5.56. You can use any 6mm round in the suppressor, 6 ARC, 6 Dash, or 6 Creed, 243 Winchester, etc. So you do have a lot more versatility in terms of calibers. All your old mounts will work just fine, and yada, yada, yada. So the purpose of this can, as you can see from the vents at the end on screen, is that, you're going to get less back pressure. You have an internal 3D printed architecture that is flow-through-esque, so you get a lot less back pressure. You get less noise at the shooter's ear, which I personally find way more important, right? Because I'm the one shooting the gun. So I actually don't really care how loud it is other places to other people around me. I want it to be quiet for me. Like, I'm buying these suppressors. I'm shooting these suppressors to save my hearing, right? To protect me. I'm not actually in combat where I need to reduce my signature so that somebody 241 yards away around a building can't pinpoint my location. I'm just shooting on a flat range, and I just want it quieter for me. And I would also like to eat less toxic gases personally, right? So for me, it's like, this is just a win-win. Make it quieter at my ear, the shooter, the guy who's paying for the thing, and give me less gas back to the face. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we also have some Pew Science data here to go over, and this is kind of what he was talking about there. So if you look at the older OCM5, it has a muzzle reduction rating of 42.5, which is really high, really, really good, but an ear of 17.5, which is not very good. Not terrible, but again, just not very good. The OCM6 has a much lower overall suppressor rating of 34.1, right? So you go from 42.6 on the high back pressure can all the way down to 34.1, which is kind of like middle of the road, I suppose. But your ear actually goes up to 22.7 because you have less of that back pressure coming at you. You have reduced bolt velocity. You have reduced port pop. The way that sound comes back at you in a less violent nature, it is actually quieter at the shooter's ear, which again, to me personally, is what I actually care about. So why people complain about like a Flow 556K because of it's a loud can. It might be loud if you're standing away from it, but if you look at the in-ear suppression of something like a Hux Flow can, it's actually really good. So let me see real fast if I can just pull up the in-ear rankings, because that is, here we go. So let's go shooting ear and go 556 on Pew Science's website to show you what I'm talking about. So I want 556, of course. Supersonic 556. So one of the best is going to be Stealth Additive Tisha, Maxim Defense, and Huxworks Flow 556 Titanium and the 556K. They're all within 1 point of each other, right? So even though you think, oh wow, these are really loud cans, like the Flow 556K is super loud to other people. Again, not really relevant to me when I'm shooting by myself 99% of the time, right? So I'm shooting for me. I'm shooting for my own hearing reduction. So having a quiet can at my ear is very important. If you're trying to reduce your signature for some OP4, right, where you're actually trying to, quote unquote, go to war against somebody else, maybe that's something that's much more important to you. But for me personally, I want no back pressure and reduced noise at my ear to save my hearing, right? Makes sense to me. And also, of course, getting less gas to the face is quite nice. Personally, I mean, maybe the fact that it has a 6mm bore is exciting to some of you if you want to use it on like a 6-arc gun, like a shorty 6-arc with an overbore suppressor. Like that's kind of cool. If you want to use it on like a 6 Creed or, some of the other oddball calibers out there, I'm sure it would work just fine. Titanium shroud, Inconel inner core baffle stack, whatever it is. So it's a good blend of lightweight and durability. Now, when I say lightweight, it's not lightweight. The total weight is still 16 ounces with a 9-ounce can, which is not too terrible. I think my Whitebread RDM, the restricted development model, which is like the heavy, hard use can, is like about that without a mount. So overall, the OCM6 is about as heavy as a Whitebread RDM, and reduced back pressure, 6mm bore, yada yada yada. Reduced back pressure, good thing. Better at the shooter's ear, also a good thing. And also just getting, the problem with a lot of traditionally baffled cans is the fact that they just suck to actually be behind and to suck to actually shoot, in terms of one, being actually louder to the shooter, quieter to everyone else around you. So it's less impressive in that respect, but just gas to the face sucks. So flow through cans are all I'll be using going forward. I'm glad that the OCM6 is kind of a update in that regard. So, all right, cool concept. I need a 308 AR designed specifically around the AEM 5-30. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the OCM6 will also come out with a 30 cal version eventually. Uncle OG in the chat, hope you're doing well tonight, good sir. Gotta love these mini TBIs. Well, I mean, suppressors help. Suppressors help with that sort of thing. So I would recommend always shooting suppressed. Now, speaking of suppressors or of suppressing the narrative, Cloud Defensive. Okay, I forgot that they were still around. We've been covering them for a year at this point. They had a bunch of their engineers laid off and or quit. They were taking a year to deliver product. They launched the EPL kind of, even after, having back orders and pre-orders for months and months and months. They, their management team not doing such a good job. They've been embroiled in a lot of issues that we've been seeing plague these companies that did not properly forecast for the Trump slump 2.0, which we are currently in, right? So Cloud Defensive put up this post. Of course, the comments are still limited. So no, you and I cannot comment on there unless I think they follow us or something like that. So Cloud Defensive, big changes, and even better cloud. Scroll to see more. And yes, the dreaded white text, black on white text. All right, let's go ahead. Change is a constant in the universe and in business too. Now, that opening line reads to me, used up e-girl, right? Richard, this is like failed relationship number 4. She's taking it out on her story. She's posting, melancholy posting. She's vague posting. And she's like, you know what? Change is a constant in the universe, just like in business. Sometimes you just have to let things go. It's like, all right, this is a post-wall e-girl right here. For those that want to peek behind the curtains, the meat curtains, we are in the middle of a massive overhaul of cloud. Why? Because the cloud you want is different than the cloud that exists. Ouch. Wow. I mean, that's brutally honest, but thank you. So we make the needed change right now, and that is something you will soon feel. I don't want to feel it. For the better. Time to market compressed. Operational friction reduced. Wait, what? Time to market compressed, period? That's a sentence? Richard, are you still here? What does that mean? Time to market compressed? Or does he mean like...
Not sure.
I think he means like product announced to actually hitting the market, like time to market compressed, like shorter, pre-order to launch or to sale window or to ship window. I think that's what he means. Time to market compressed, operational friction reduced, which I think that sounds like firing people. Operational friction reduced, customer experience elevated, integration and synergy. Yeah, this is a bunch of catchphrases. Dude, I would just like Chat GPT, what's a bunch of random positive sounding words I could slap together here in short, punchy sentences? And this is what it spits out. Time to market compressed, operational friction reduced, customer experience elevated, integration and synergy. The benefits are too numerous to list here. It will absolutely take a minute, but it's already underway. That kind of change is not without pain. It requires that we relocate. Oh no. That's not fun. Again, this is like reads like the Ethod who got kicked out of her boyfriend's apartment after he caught her cheating on him. That kind of change is not without pain. It requires that we relocate halfway across the country, actually. That's something we never saw coming. So, we're headed west to our new manufacturing, assembly, and fulfillment home. There is nothing you need to do. Good to know. I wasn't going to do anything anyways. Here are a couple of updates, however. We've systematically been wiping out back orders to take care of people who have already ordered lights. There may be a few who get caught in the middle, but those lights will arrive on your door as promised. Talk to us as needed. We're here. Well, I wish I could, Cloud Defensive, but I can't even comment on your Instagram post. Cloud Defensive, I want to talk to you, but you won't let me comment on your Instagram post. Nothing says talk to us as needed. Like limiting the comments on your Instagram post. Where were they before? Behind the Iron Curtain? Yeah, I guess. Again, it just sounds like they got kicked out of their warehouse. Maybe they weren't making payments on time. All right. RL-100 timeline is still on track for late summer, early fall. It's the end of July. Late summer is like 2 weeks from now, dude. What are you talking about? Late summer is not very far away, good sir. We'll update you with the exact timeline once we have it, and we'll email all the customers who pre-ordered, aka gave us their hard-earned money. And that's still rolling. We've got a cool surprise for you guys on that. You'll be very happy, but we can't announce it quite yet. Dude, I hate that. We've got an announcement coming. You'll like it, but we can't announce the announcement yet. But when we announce the announcement, there will be an announcement of the announcement that will make all of you very excited about our announcement. Stay tuned for our next announcement. All right.
I hate updates like this.
Ah, dude, it's so long too, bro. The FDE EPL is currently being machined at the same facility our moving trucks are headed to. It's sick. The machines are also making rain and MCH as I type this. Okay, so they've got a new production facility already up and rolling. Big if true. I know that can take a lot of time to get set up and, quality control, customer assurance, customer service, all that sort of fun stuff. Usually there's a bit of a lag or a dip, so best of luck on that. We anticipate a several-week pause/slowdown in shipping timelines due to this move, you don't say. But this is a highly coordinated and orchestrated event. It's not random, and it's not spontaneous. Okay? Why did he say that twice? It's not random, and it's not spontaneous. We'll be, like most people don't,
like random and spontaneous.
We'll be building lights out west surprisingly fast once the trucks get there. A lot of groundwork has been laid for this already, and that's a moment we're looking forward to. Also, one final note, because the internet is the internet. Hello. Matt and I still own 100% of Cloud Defensive. We did not sell it. Nobody bought in. We are simply routing the ship. Did he mean writing the ship? Because being routed is not a good thing. I think you were supposed to say writing the ship. not routing the ship. Am I crazy? Routing the ship is not a good thing. I mean, a bit of a Freudian slip, perhaps, but that's quite funny. We are simply routing the ship in the direction it must go, or routing the ship. Maybe they mean routing the ship, like directionally. We are looking forward to this new chapter. We'll have media on site at our new home, and we'll be capturing a lot of this action. We can't wait to bring you guys inside and show you what we're doing. Again, very e-girl coded. So much more on the way. Thanks for the continued support. You guys make it all possible. Yes, your pre-orders have kept us alive, aka Sean and Matt. Well, that was quite nice. This would be an interesting update if I could read. True. I just had to bully customer service enough to get my light shipped. 15 out of 10 experience, I bet. But can't email back within a month or answer IG direct messages. Come on, man. Joe Biden, Truk. I've sent 3 emails about a return over the past few weeks, along with a message on here, and absolutely no response. I've checked my spam folder. Remember, guys, what did the guy say? Yes, at where did he say about? There's so many pages here. Something about contact us as needed. Oh yeah, talk to us as needed. Doesn't respond to emails. Doesn't respond to DMs. All right, we getting the legacy back. Where y'all moving to? Spare batteries for the EPL. Flashlight, Fresno. The yearly we're changing post. Yeah, okay, same bullshit, different year. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that the people who are hardcore cloud defensive fans, hardcore fans of their lights that have done the pre-orders, done the rigmarole over and over and over again, are rightfully skeptical of their claims. Leaving Indiana and your employees behind. Oof, that's a good point as well. Yeah, a lot of people out of a job. Maybe that's what they were talking about when they said reduce industrial friction or whatever it was, aka leave a bunch of our employees behind. Bring back the owl. Yeah, never going to happen. West across the Pacific, you mean? No. Random mode select issue. Yeah, of course. Waited months. Yep. Cries in Indiana. Tragic. We're out west. Where are you moving to? Can't wait. Fire. This guy's like, hey, I was hoping the ownership changed, which would probably be for the best. Guess y'all can let me down one final time to my grave when it's time, if y'all make it that long. Ah, tragic. Yeah, not looking too well if the own guys that follow them and are allowed to comment on it are kind of clowning on you. I wish the best for everyone who bought a cloud defensive light. I hope at least at the end of the day you get your money back. But again, when you're buying lights or anything for a offensive or defensive purpose, and you can't get customer service if and when things go wrong, you kind of just wasted your money, bro. So that's why I don't recommend anyone buy a cloud defensive, even if you think the performance is really good, because if they continue to mishandle, their money, their finances, their employees, their timelines, like they're just not going to be able to take care of you in a couple of years when your light goes down, right? It happens to everything at some point. They are wear components. They will eventually go out. They will eventually have issues. And if the company doesn't exist anymore, well, congratulations, you have a paperweight. So if you're like, no, I'm going to depend on this light to, do the thing that I needed to do on the worst day of my life, well, why wouldn't you just go with a company that actually exists and can actually, fix products like Surefire or Streamlight or Modlight or, some of the other companies that are out there that are existing and doing things and not vague posting on Instagram about, hey, this time it's different, bros. That's true. Clouds are not very good for defense unless you're an orc and you need them to move in the sunlight, right? So it really depends. Okay, I do think it gives a movement buff to certain species. Now, speaking of certain species, okay, we have actually an interesting idea, which I don't know if I've ever seen these before, which is 4-position FRTs. Okay, Harrison Gunworks announced 4-position AR kits coming soon to Harrison Gunworks. Now that's interesting. So 4-position, I'm guessing, okay, is going to be safe, fire, burst, and FRT, which is like, that's novel. That's interesting enough, right? You get 4 positions. I don't really see the benefit of burst and FRT, considering you can already burst with an FRT, right? So you get a 2-round burst, a 3-round burst, plus FRT. But again, you can just do your 2 or 3-round bursts with FRTs, and it sounds like, there's an additional component, an additional sear, an additional, disconnector, all the fun stuff that you can see on screen here that has a possibility of failure, right? Yeah, as WFA do says, more stuff to go wrong. Safe fire FRT in 320 mode. Well, that's not good. That's not good. Safe semi and full send is all you need. I agree, because again, you can, if it's a 3-round burst, like you can just do your 3-round burst with an FRT, and it's like, oh, well, that one I accidentally did 4. This one I accidentally did 2. It's like the effect is basically the same. So new 4-position AR kits are in active development and should be ready for production soon. That's sick. 4-position straight gangster for the crowd of people that loves FRTs. Like, obviously they're really positive on it. Okay. Unlike the Cloud Defensive Post, these fans are actually really excited to get a 4-position selector. It's not my thing. Again, I'm not going to poo-poo on you guys too much. It seems like another way to, spend and waste your money in terms of converting, hard-earned cash to noises and sounds and fire and smoke and all sorts of fun stuff, and holes into, dead refrigerators and microwaves on the side of the road. But you know what? Fair enough. Okay. You guys enjoy it. You guys have fun doing it. You're excited for it. Go for it, bro. Okay. Definitely not my thing. I will not be picking up a 4-position kit. I barely use any 3-position FRT stuff. Obviously, Red Right Hand, does a lot more stuff in that genre, so to speak, whether it be belt feds or IAR kits or any of the other fun stuff. So FRTs are a lot more applicable to his genre. This is my burst selector. Yeah, I mean, if you just train with your FRT, which, spoiler alert, none of these people actually train with their FRTs. If you just train with your FRTs, you should be able to just like drop doubles, triples, and quads whenever you want. It should just be like muscle memory. It should be second nature to you to do what you need to do to put those rounds on target. Okay. So, I mean, for me, it's like complete waste of time and money. If it's more complex, if it's more annoying to install, if it's an additional failure point, which of course it is, just not for me, dog. I don't need a 4-position. Some people think it's novel. It's cool. Go for it. Spend your money how you want. Support these guys if you will. So no problems. All right. Speaking of problems, this got shared with me, and so now I have to share it with you. This is Dog Shot, okay? And again, according to YouTube TOS, I don't recommend anyone go over to this person's channel and dog on them. Over and try to put a leash on what he can and can't say. I don't recommend, all the things. Okay. Any other puns that you guys can think of, go ahead and just put them in the chat right now for my own personal enjoyment. But we have Dog Shot. Now, Dog Shot seems like a nice enough young feller who has some habits, one could say. But there's just one thing that really stuck out to me. And we're kind of on an AUG kick, an AUG-tist kick, if you will. And man, you guys are just never beating the allegations, okay? 3D printers, bullpups, AUG-tists, furries. Like, it's just, you can't get away from it, bro. You can't get away from it. It just is what it is. You guys, like, listen, okay, when you guys say, oh, I love AUGs, oh, I love bullpups, you have to remember that this image is what pops into my mind. I'm like, sure you do, buddy. Yeah, you and your buddies like to, get around on all fours after you're done with your forest sessions, and you guys like to, do the stuff with your AUGs. Sure, bro. Sure. Coming soon to a mosque near you. That's funny. That's funny. And of course, it's a NATO stock. I'm uncomfortable. Oh, bull pups. I didn't even think about that. Dude, that adds a whole new layer to bull pups. Ugh. Tragic. Randy reviews it, says bullpup people are worse than AK folks. Yes, that's possible. It is true. I mean, it's like AK guys, pretty degenerate. Russia booze, pretty bad. But bullpup people, I'm thinking they're even worse. I'm thinking they're even worse, guys. John, please turn off your computer. Not gonna happen. You know? Focus trip. Stop it. Okay, that's not me. Somebody impersonating me. Are we sure this isn't Logan? Yes, we are actually sure this isn't Logan, handsome horse, because Logan would be wearing horse ears, a horse tail, and probably a dress to go along with it. Okay, because he would be into Umas, not into dogs. So it'd be a different type of furry, a different problem that we're dealing with.
We
Well,
sure
but
this
people-
is Oxide?
This could be Hawkeye. This is possible. Maybe let's listen to it for a second. I don't think I've actually listened to this. Of course, music, yes.
Actually takes AR-15 magazines. And what's great about that, especially, you know, from a civilian standpoint, is now you don't have to.
See, Herpalooza, if you know Uma's names off the top of your dome, you're in too deep, so to speak. Okay, we're going to have to metaphorically pull you out of your Uma fascination if you can just remember their names.
Buy different magazines if you already own an AR or any other gun that takes AR magazines. I mean, these are very well.
I mean, right? It's got to be like a power play, right? To have your, you know, your autism, both of your autisms really on the side, like some sort of, what's the word that I'm looking for that's YouTube appropriate?
I think they call it puppy play, sir.
Right. Well, but I just mean like they kind of get off on it, right? The humiliation of it. Like if you ever see it like pride parades or other things like that, which I know that you've been a part of a lot of them. So I'm sure you've seen this where, you know, people wear things and it's just like, this is just gross and disgusting, but they're getting off on it, right? They're getting off on the public display of it. To them, it's a weird fetish thing, right? Because this person obviously could like have the decency to not wear the furry outfit and just to do a normal video talking about the AUG, but that wouldn't actually do it for him, right? This actually does it for him, right? Making you see it, making other people see it. The comments as well on the video are two of my, okay, check this guy's name, okay? Make sure he hasn't been in our chat, okay? We're gonna be creating lists here, so to speak, just for historical purposes, okay? Calm down, just for historical purposes. Two of my biggest interests, furries and firearms at the same time. Hell yeah, Gem Alert. The most underrated LMG in Call of Duty. Hell yeah, can't wait to see this channel grow. Heck yeah, the Steyr AUG. Lots of Augtists in the chat. Nice channel, fellow gun nerd and husky. Fellow gun nerd and husky. Hello, fellow huskies. I just found this channel and I absolutely love it. Hell yeah. Degenerates with access to firearms. Subscribed. Okay, I thought you were going to say unsubscribed. Unbelievable. A video about a furry talking about a cool gun from a countryman. Hell yeah. Nice video. Okay. Oh my gosh. A European furry. Gross. You're a disgrace to your ancestors. Happy to finally see a furry gun tuber. Yeah, just make a note of the names, mental note. Furries and firearms, instantly subscribed. Oxide wasn't sock puppeted and gaped for this. Oh my gosh, I forgot about Oxide. Truk. Keep up the good work, boy. Oh, see, that's weird. It's weird when you're puppying it out. Gosh, dog shot. Okay. All right. All right. Adorable people talking about cool guns. Oh, hell yeah. Subscribed. Gems. Cut it with a fursuit, bro. Come back to real life. Truk. One reasonable human in the comments. A singular reasonable human in the comments. Oh, animal control. Hey, don't manhandle that man. He might like it. But you know what, guys? It's time to come clean. All right. It's time to be honest with you guys, to be real. I have got to get a job. You know, it's been fun. It's been a good ride, but I don't want to end up like, what's this guy's name again? I don't want to end up like Dogshot, you know, middle-aged, selling your soul to entertain degenerates online. Like I've got to find something better to do with my time. You know, I've got to move on. I've got to, you know, do something good for my family, something good for me that helps me grow professionally, emotionally, spiritually, right? So I've got to move on. So I've been I've been applying, to some new jobs, and I was just thinking, maybe you guys would be interested. One last little hurrah before I get this job and have to sign the channel over to Richard, which is true, by the way. If I get this job that I've already applied for, I will be leaving Focus Trip to Richard in my will. He'll become the full owner of it. You will have to deal with him Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'm sure other times as well. But I hope I get it. So CEO of Ridgewood Fractional Recruiting for T-Rex Arms. That's funny. Anyway, so I'm really looking forward to my new position. I'm looking forward to the application process, to the interview process. I'm excited to meet all of them and talk to them in a very serious manner and explain why I can right the ship at T-Rex Arms. I think I can do it. Okay, I think I've got not only the industry knowledge, but the knowledge of the inner workings of the degenerate public at large that would allow me to interface autist to autist with their consumer base to increase their sales to previously unknown quantities, right? It'll be unbelievable how much good we can do in the firearms industry together. You mean route the ship? That's true. I'll be routing the ship very, very carefully. Anyways, so, the pay is okay. It's between $150,000 and $250,000 a year, which isn't terrible. I feel like I could live off of $250,000 a year. It'd be a little bit of a step down from you guys, but $250,000 a year should hold us over. Okay. I think there's opportunity for growth at this job. Now, it is kind of ironic that, I got to show you this too. This is kind of mean, but also just funny. So I was trying to find a picture of David Knorr, right? The acting CEO at T-Rex Arms. When you Google his name, this is what pops up. Because I was trying to find an image of him on Google Images. So David Knorr, T-Rex Arms, you get the battle belt, and then autistic people. Explore more searches like David Knorr at T-Rex Arms. Battle belt and autistic people is the exact thing that pops up.
He does have golden retriever energy too.
And this golden retriever here with no front legs. It's just two back legs. And keeps on keeping on. Anyways, so it is also funny that I think so David Knorr was the CEO or took over the CEO position. I forget how that works. Before him was the Colonel, right? The Ghoul, as we like to call him. The Ghoul was the CEO. And then he got stepped down, replaced. He's got moved around, shuffled somewhere else. I forget where. And now they're actually trying to hire a new CEO. And I suppose remove the Botkins from, the leadership positions. They'll probably still be on the board, but probably not in terms of the actual leadership position. So on the board, not in terms of leadership, which is interesting that they're taking what was a family company, what started as, Lucas and then his brothers, turns into, well, now it's none of you. You guys couldn't play nice with the company. Now nobody gets it. Now nobody can deal with it. Also, I should have my Titan in either tomorrow or Friday. I'm hoping. It's not too far away from me right now. Anyways, this is kind of a Lucas position, right? They're like, hey, can you do the Lucas thing? We lost our last Lucas. Can we get another Lucas in here, please? So, required entrepreneurial chops. Deeply understands direct to consumer product businesses. Oh, believe me, I deeply understand it. A leader who develops leaders. You know what? I think I've developed Richard into a great public orator. And certainly Jake, also of Big Toe Money fame, has now become a niche internet celebrity all of his own right. So I think you could say that I develop leaders in a certain context. Has coaching process and knows how to replicate leadership development throughout the company. Oh, believe me, I can lay people off with the best of them. Okay, I can send so many inappropriate images to people like you wouldn't believe. I've got this stuff on lock. All right. Great at putting the right people in the right seats, accountability and executive performance and compensation. All right, putting people in their place. Been known to do that from time to time. Can definitely do that. Energy, drive, vision, hope. Let's go take that hill. And people want to follow because he has a track record of knowing which hill and why. Okay, energy, drive, vision, hope. Now, I would be honest, I'm a little bit more of a cynic than maybe you would prefer, but sometimes it takes a cynic, okay, to do what's necessary, okay, to fix the company. I'm not saving the company, but I will fix it, all right? Either personality fits or can put themselves in the shoes of our customer profile, male, self-reliant dads with more money than time. Interesting. So like rich dads. That's your customer profile, male, self-reliant dads with more money than time. Okay. Rich dads. Interesting. Fair enough. Inspired by our mission to inspire, educate, and equip citizens to confidently defend life and extend liberty. Oh, we'll be defending life, but in the process of that, it's gonna, you gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet sort of thing. Okay. Within/willing to move within daily commute distance to Centerville, Tennessee. Fine. I'll make for $250,000 a year. I'll make the sacrifice. Okay, fine. Firearms industry experience. Got plenty of that. Personally competent with firearms and EDC. Well, USPSA, GM, blah, 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 blah. Fair enough. Confident communicating through a camera. I'd work on that. Founder, co-founder who has successfully taken product to a consumer audience. I mean, I own a company. I wouldn't really call it successful though. It does. I mean, it makes money, but it's like, it's no T-Rex arms. Required genius marketer. Man, genius marketer. No, I wouldn't see that. Kind of knocks me out, guys. I don't think I'm a genius marketer. Kind of just a dick. I kind of just say things. I'm like a dog chasing cars. Okay, I wouldn't know what to do if I actually caught one. In this case, a high-level position at T-Rex Arms. Highly competent in multi-channel digital marketing. If you just mean like multi-platform, yeah, fair enough. Knows how to understand needs and communicate value to broad audience in various media, especially online. Nope, don't do much online. Excellent intuition about how messages land and what to say / what the angle is. Now, that one you guys needed. Man, okay, actually, you know what? You should have brought me on for marketing like a year ago before you put out all of those nonsense statements, right? I could have saved you guys so much trouble, time, and heartache by just telling you guys to shut up. Like literally, just shut up. Stop it. Get some help. Like just no. Absolutely not. You just need to stop talking. You need to shut up. That'll be 6 figures, okay? Like, listen, that whole edited video, the timeline that you had to change after the fact, all that sort of nonsense, the first strike, so to speak, not good. Not good. Don't do that. All right. That would have been my advice. Has successfully taken products to a consumer audience. Yeah. Personally competent. Yeah. Either personality fits, can put the shoes on, self-reliant dad, inspired by our mission to inspire, educate, and equip citizens to confidently defend life and extend liberty. Yeah. Anyways, company profile. T-Rex Arms is a direct-to-consumer e-commerce lifestyle brand that designs and manufactures high-end pistol holsters and soft goods. We also resell a curated selection of other firearms, accessory, and everyday carry gear. We do this to an industry-leading customer experience from a single location with 70 team members. Now, guys, okay, are you guys following here? If you remember the last interview that I did with Lucas when he was still at T-Rex Arms, they had 100. They had 100 employees, or like 98 employees. And now they're down to 70. So the insider source that was saying 30% layoffs, that's, my math isn't great, okay, but 70 down from 100 seems to be about 30% laid off. Yowzers. No, Lucas still isn't paid. Ouch. Oof. But hey, we have $250,000 a year to hand to a CEO position. The founder face who personally Oh, I do like how they do have this little blurb about Lucas. By the way, you're coming into some shoes that some people don't want filled. Yes, 30% equals routing the ship. The founder / face who personally drove most revenue as a social media influencer resigned over conflict with his brother's co-owners and tried to destroy the brand. Oh, that's not nice. That's not nice, dude. That's mean. You're in a legal fight with the guy. Shut up. Oh my gosh. T-Rex, listen to me. Stop it. Shut up. Like, you need my marketing advice now. Shut up. Stop doing this. How dare you? You idiot. You're in a fight with the guy. Stop calling him out. You're saying in no uncertain terms that he intended to destroy the company. What is your problem? Unbelievable. I can't believe you did that. Why did you do that? Really? You should have hired me yesterday. Damn it. I could have saved you from this. Who writes this? Who authorized this? Damn. But on one hand, they admit that he personally drove most of the revenue as a social media influencer. So they're admitting that, yeah, by the way, he was the guy who caused most of our growth. And then at the same time, they're like, oh, and he personally tried to destroy the brand. In no uncertain terms. That is a bold claim. That is a bold claim. Keep in mind that you still haven't paid him. Checks watch. And I think it's been over a year now. It's been a while, bro. Ah, damn it. I'm giving you all of this advice for free when you should have just been paying me. Damn it. Damn it. The goal is a substantial CAGR from current to a new revenue level to secure free states by inspiring, educating, and equipping citizens to exercise their God-given rights and duties to defend life and extend liberty. Core values. We think, act, and speak. You should perhaps exercise not speaking. Our strength, humility. Aw. We serve teammates. Aw. Excellence. Down 30%. Human life. Not the ones that you let go. Force. We inspire, educate, and equip citizens because there are times when the only answer to a predatory violence is proficiency in force-based. We don't love force. Why not? We love what it defends. We advocate for the God-given right enshrined in the Second Amendment because when civil government attempts a monopoly on force, everyone suffers and the weakest suffer most. Curate. Yeah, civilian focused. Other owner commitments. T-Rex, is a great place to work in Hickman County, Tennessee. Maybe. We invest in our workforce, other than the ones we laid off. And we sell every product we design direct to civilians, no government-only products. So I don't know, guys. I've already applied. I'm very excited to be hearing a call back any minute now. Honestly, I'm shocked it hasn't happened already, but maybe at some point in the future we can get that set up. Maybe my last stream ever on this channel, okay, which would be really funny, would to be from the T-Rex Arms CEO office, right? And that's my last stream ever before I hand the keys over to Richard. Wouldn't that be hilarious? Are you confident, Richard? You should be.
I am.
You've got it handled, okay? I'll take T-Rex. You have the watch. Call him? I should, dude. It'll be very funny. Anyways, let's get to your guys' support, and then we've got Rage Bait and Funny Bait and a bunch of other things, okay? We're going to end on a nice note. We're going to end happy, serene, peaceful tonight. It's going to be a great end. Just you wait. Handsome Horse for $20 says, let's go. Big Toe Money, Hump Day Edition, free Dugan. Christ is King. Thank you, Handsome Horse. Mega Base to support. You are the reason why I keep going every morning.
I am a pregnant woman, Taser.
So talking, I grin like that. Everybody laughing, but he still broke when that shoelace tight. He don't fold. I got Super Saiyan, big toe game. I'm not playing. I'm like Goku, Dragon Balls, about to come all over these balls. I got Super Saiyan, big toe game. I'm not playing. I'm like Goku, Dragon Balls, about to come all over these balls.
There we go. Heck yeah. Gives me a second to catch my breath. Thank you, Handsome Horse. Very based of you. Subarctic Psycho for 5 says, super cool. They made a direct mount MOS optic 8 months after the Gen 5s were canned. Where was this 5 years ago? Little late to the party. But at least there are like 5 million MOS guns floating around in the US. So thank you, Subarctic Psycho. Amorite Boy for 2 says late and omega gay. Thank you, Amorite Boy. Damn. Zanico for 2 says AEM5 6mm is greater than the OCM 6. Yeah, nah, I just rather have less back pressure and less noise to my ear. Like, obviously, I'm the one shooting it. So to me, it's like high back pressure is not a flex. Like, oh, this sucks every time I shoot it. I love getting cancer. And again, it's like if you're a cloner guy, well, that's just on you, bro. Lightsport for 2 says, didn't even have time to beat my meat. Well, listen, that's a skill issue, okay? If I started the stream too early for you to get to it, well, that purely on you. Nothing I could do about that. Thank you, Lightsport. Matthew dropped 67 gems for 6-7. Based, now that all of the gems are showing up in StreamYards. Elton John for 400 gems drops the eagle. Appreciate that. I enjoy getting distracted by all of your gems in chat. You know what? The real gems of this chat are all of you guys. Oh, every single one of you that just hang out, that comment, that lurk, that super chat, that support, that drop, whatever the gems are. You're the real gems, okay? You guys are the star of the show. You make it worth doing. Press F. Thank you, Seth. And the St. John's Crusade 4-2 says, how are the lungs, Richard? Exodus 23:25. Go for it, Richard.
Healing slowly, but getting better little by little. Thanks for asking.
Okay, how was your work breakfast the other day?
It was very good. They even had leftovers, so I had breakfast again this morning.
Oh, nice. Heck yeah. Exodus 23:25. Worship the Lord your God, and his blessing will be on your food and water. I will take away sickness from among you. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. St. John's Crusade. Space Cowboy says, look up the NDAA. Is this something I need to know? Oh, yeah. This is the one where they joined together the supply militaries between US and Israel against all of our wishes, unfortunately. 5 hours ago, Chaos Erupts says House passes $1.15 trillion defense bill with Israel provision, stop stoking Jew hatred. Well, if you would stop giving them my money, I would stop being concerned with them. Thank you very much, Space Cowboy. Spec, 10 gems, gold coin. Very, very Semitic coded there with the coins. John C. Barsoom, Go Trophy for 1,000 gems. I don't know what that means, but thank you very much, Mr. Barsoom. And yes, it is all so tiresome. Seth, for 200 gems, drops a flow state. Appreciate that. Thank you. Amorite Boy for 2 says, is this the new live action Moana? Yeah, it's special. It looks good, high value. The water looks nice and clean. That's what happens when you're not in India, I guess. Thank you, Amorite Boy. Lightspore for 2 says total Pinot victory. Well, as our resident Filipino, I'm glad that your team appears to be on the winning side for this round. Okay, thank you, Lightspore. Zanico for 2 says Lord of the Flip Flies. Yeah, Lord of the Flip Flops. Thank you, Zanico. FDOC number 1, TND. Thank you, Lightsport. Appreciate that. Sandyco for another 2 says, John, I still need that Leopold Mark IV. Well, you want it from me? I don't have a Leopold Mark IV. What are you talking about, bro? You think I just give those things out for free? You're off your rocker, good sir. Thank you, Sandyco. Spec for 2 says average gun show table. Yeah, isn't that true, though? Like, just what a smorgasbord of garbage. It's like I've been to a couple of those, like small town, rural gun shows, and you go there and it's just all garbage. You're like, that's terrible. What a waste of my time here, Thank you, Spec. Atramentar for 2 says, Happy White Boy Wednesday. Christ is King. Thank you, Atramentar. Appreciate that, sir. Amorite Boy for 2 says, A2 is the true minimalist stock. All right, bud. All right, Grandpa. Let's get you back to bed. We all know that the A1 stock and grip are king. Thank you, Amorite Boy. Zandico for 2 says, John, I'll handle Tasker. You rest easy. Thank you. Thank you very much for taking care of him. I appreciate that. Lightspore for 2 says, he's too tubby for us to give a fuck about what he thinks. Thank you very much, Lightspore. Appreciate that, good sir. Art Vandalay for 550 gems says, stay hydrated. I've been trying, bros. I've been trying. Lightsport for 2 says, force Tasker on a diet plan. Well, maybe. Maybe someday we can get Tasker on a diet. Not today. Vandalay, member for 11 months, says, I think O-Site people use Amazon more than Glock Store. Probably true. Probably saying a lot of overlap there in that crowd, for sure. Thank you, Art Vandalay. Rhythm with the Tism for 2 says, Dry Fire, based, Christ is King, Genesis 1 through Revelation 22. Yeah, checkmate atheists. Unfortunately, Genesis 1 through Revelation 22. Checkmate. Thank you, Rhythm with the Tism. Very based. Lone Wanderer for 2. Drops 2 on the table, walks away, says absolutely nothing. Mega base. Thank you, Lone Wanderer. Lone Wanderer for another 5 says furries are a Mossad operation. True. Very true. Thank you, Lone Wanderer. Appreciate that. Merc for 600 gems. Mic drop. Well, my mic continues to want to drop. I need to get something on there to fix it. I'll deal with it eventually. Amorite Boy for 2 says, this is why I can't bring myself to get a 3D printer. What's wrong with the 3D printing community? Are they weird? Like, is the 3D printing community weird? Are they strange? Are bullpup owners strange? Speaking of bullpup owners, Basecamp Training for 2 says, damn it. I know, bro. You're the one who chose to do that to yourself. Atramentar for 2. Sorry, Atramentar. I don't know why I slipped that one in there, so to speak. Amorite Boy for 2 says, Notting worth it? Keep him away from pet stores. Yeah, all right. Thank you, Amorite Boy, for that. Nox Spectre for 2 says, sorry, what was that, Richard? Oh, never mind. Okay. Nox Spectre for 2 says, it's apparent we need more shock collars. Maybe he'd like it, though. Maybe it's a problem. Lightsport for 2 says, I want the job. Day 1, I'll grape the brothers. Ugh. That's not nice, Lightsport. That's rather mean. Jackknife for 1,000 gems drops the GOAT trophy. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate that, Jackknife. Randy Reviews for 5 says, if you became CEO, would you authorize payment to Lucas for his exit? Well, I don't even know if I have control of that as CEO, because it's between him and his brothers, right? Between the operating agreement. But listen, if I magically had control over T-Rex Arms, I would fire a bunch of people. Like, I would have to. Okay, it's like, yeah. It's going to be a rough year for T-Rex. We're firing a bunch of people. We are liquidating a bunch of product, and we are restructuring. Okay, and we'll figure out how to get people the money that they're owed, or maybe just bring them back on board. Because I feel like there's a redemption story in here somewhere. Okay, there's a narrow way through here, right? There is a way to fix this, to resolve this, to make sure that the people that are important are happy, and that the good people, you and I, get what we need. So there is a narrow way through here. It's complicated, though. Thank you, Randy Reviews It. Polly B for 5 says, I wish T-Rex Arms a good future, good fortune in the Trump slump wars to come. Well, you never know. 2026 could be crazy, okay? We could go hot with Iran, not just in terms of rockets, but we could have like Iran invading Bahrain, or we could invade them, like boots on the ground. So you never know. 2026 could go crazy. Okay, never rule it out. Zanico for 5 says, John, call Mike, tell him to come outside. I just want to chat. Wait, why are you hanging outside? Go in there and hang out. Come on. All right, thank you, Zanico. Appreciate that. Helter Lover, 1488. My bad. Just, unreasonable slip up on my part. Member for 9 months says, I don't want to see ends. Let's skip to Uncle H edits. Well, that can be done on your own timeline, okay? You know what? That's for Zitter and Instagram, okay? Not this is YouTube, okay, bro? Thank you, Helter Lover. Listen Jack for 5 says, sorry, John, I am no longer a USPSA nerd. Nice. I've been promoted to a NRLR 22 nerd. Dude, that sounds like so much fun. People do that. It's another level of autism for sure, but I just kind of like the concept of it. Very low round count. Obviously there's, no noise, nothing like that. And you're shooting like out to maybe 300 or 400 yards with 22s. It's just such a silly little thing to do, but it's got to be fun. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate that. And good luck out there on that. Shiny Jars for 200 gems drops Sunshine. Appreciate you. Andy Awamo for 10 gems says happy poop. Appreciate that. And then Basement Larper for 5 says, would you consider having a deputy on your show to discuss the anecdotal beliefs of law enforcement? Go ahead. Yeah, of course. Why not? Thank you, Basement Larperator. Appreciate you, good sir. What did Ukon say that had to be deleted? What's up?
No.
Richard?
I don't know.
You say something to me?
I don't know.
I just thought Chud deleted something in chat, so I was wondering what it was. Okay. Mr. Noom on Rumble says, John, you seen the braces that are just a stock with not a stock on them? I have not seen that, but again, it's like the fine. If the punishment fits the crime, what's the punishment for a $0 tax stamp? It's like, what possibly would be a just punishment for that? Thank you, Mr. Noom. Oh, Jarrett for 2 says, bedtime, wake me up when you do a joy bait stream. Yeah, I know. It doesn't happen too often. Have a good one, everyone. Christ is king and God is good. Thank you very much, oh, Jarrett. Hope you're doing well out there. Good night. Godspeed. Good, sir. All right. And then Ko-Fi. Over here, we got... nope, not that one. Buck Alfufalo. That's funny. For 5 becomes a Ko-Fi caffeine creep. Tarke for 10 says, kind of glad you forgot about me. No, Tarke, I never forget about you. I pray for you often. All right. Anyways, return to Christ, and I'm sure you're probably a little happy that you have some additional content to watch in the firearm space. Paulie B for $20.
I didn't want me, taser.
Says, give me the KYS, please, John. A modest proposal. Where is it?
Kill yourself, faggot.
A modest proposal. We all love Jake and Big Toe Money, but love the most consternated facial expressions hidden beneath the balaclava. So, BTM, Big Taser Money, apply the AI Sloppinator 5000 to a Big Taser Money of black woman being tased by the police. Christ is king. Thank you very much for that. But listen, $20, you got to get something else. And here's a little vagina for you.
Every day is a battle. When you're proud, when you're queer, when you have a vagina. Every day in our lives we are fighting a war.
Goes hard every time. I love that that's real. Thank you, Paulie B. Appreciate that, good sir. Yeah, that would be actually really funny to have like an AI remix of black women getting tasered with Big Toe Money going on in the background and have them like orchestrated into the actual like video itself. That'd be a good time. All right, let's go ahead and get to the news, shall we? Turns out, ladies and gentlemen, that the Fifth Circuit Court rules illegal aliens do not have constitutional right to roam free in the U.S. Did any of you think anything to the contrary, or is this just like, you know, Libtardia 2026, where it's like, what do you mean illegal immigrants who shouldn't be here, who are foreign invaders running around our country, don't have a constitutional right to just go where they please? That's crazy. Wow. Wild. Thank you, Fifth Circuit Court, for affirming that foreign invaders don't just have a right to go wherever they feel like. The full Fifth Circuit has issued an extraordinary presidential order making it clear that illegal aliens do not have a constitutional right to roam free in the United States during their removal proceedings. Based? Well, duh. Suffer not the Xenos. How did that go to the Fifth Circuit? That's the problem, right? The fact that it went to the Fifth Circuit at all is like that they had to argue this. Crazy. Mahuckin melting pot. Uncle OG, have a good night. Godspeed out there, good sir. Count some sheep for me, please. Stating the obvious. True. All right. Do not collect the pesos. Go straight home. Yeah. We wish, bro. I'm sorry that you live in a hellscape and you want to take advantage of mine, but I'm sorry you're just going to have to go back. Now, you know what? We're not tolerant enough, you and I just feel like we have got to work on our prejudice, on our privilege, and this young woman, I think, is here to educate us on what police need to truly take care of a diverse, gay, morally bankrupt city like Nashville.
So it's very diverse. So we're exposing the trainees to these different communities and letting them learn a little bit more about the people that they
Darcy Stetchman. Stetchman. That's a funny sounding name. Stetchman. Now listen, I know I also applied to be the LGBTQ plus liaison for the MNPD. How does one get that job? It's like, hey, which one of you guys is the biggest queer? We need the biggest queer in the department. Okay, for the LGBTQ plus liaison. Which one of y'all is the biggest queer? Darcy Stetchman. Yeah, that's the one. I need the biggest queer in here.
They may interact with within the community. Within the training academy, all of our trainees, they all go through what we
Now, if you notice the trainees themselves, very white and male coded, okay? They're very white and male, here to, offer their lives to protect and serve. And the first thing they have to do to go through to pass is to have this brutal humiliation ritual pushed upon them.
we call the Mobile Diversity Tour. We take them out to different parts of the city. Going to play today. I warned the trainees. I said, you guys need to make sure you have questions, because otherwise it's going to be awkward. You're just going to be staring at one another for an hour and a half.
Hey, young white man signing up to risk life and limb to protect and serve. Have you ever thought about how this would affect the old gay community in your local town when there's keep in mind, there's real crime to be punished, I suppose, or at least stopped. It's there's real things that we should be dealing with here, but instead it's let's go to a gay seminar as part of your diversity tour. Right. Okay. Mayor of Nashville, Tennessee. Unbelievable. Dude, look at this guy. Guy's got a very Stetson-coated face. Freddie O'Connell, huh? Mayor of Nashville. Yep. That's what we need. We need the diversity tour to show our police officers how to protect and serve. Also,
Nashville is very diverse.
Very
so we're exposing the trainees to these different communities and letting them learn a little bit more about the people that they may interact with.
To protect and perv. Yeah, I mean, people are calling it. Yeah. Do early life, Connor Steen, simp chair. Looks like Scott Wiener. He does. It looks just like a humiliation ritual. It's like young white men. I saw one Asian guy in there too, signing up to protect their community. And they're like, yeah, but you need to meet and be lectured by all the gays, all the old, gross, disgusting gay people. Listen, okay, when you get called here for horrors beyond human comprehension, it's like you need to be aware of what you're fighting out here. Anyways, let's move on, shall we? Now, speaking of, another terrifying thing is a woman on a power trip. So the most terrifying thing ever, a female police officer. Viral video shows 2 electricians from Port Richey, Florida, being wrongfully detained at gunpoint by Hillsborough County Sheriff's deputy near the scene of an active shooting. So this woman is on here. What does she have in her hands? Is that a pair of pliers? Listen, if some, advanced middle-aged woman is yelling at me to get on the ground with a pair of pliers in her hand, I think I'm going to do just about everything to not be in that situation.
Hey!
Hold your hands! Hold your hands!
I'm not
On your back!
on my back.
On your stomach!
On my stomach?
Yes!
We just here working, ma'am. That's it. I only have tools on me.
Right here! Turn around.
Which way?
This way.
Just secure them for now. I got you. I got you covered. Secure them
Get on your back.
until we figure out what's going on.
On my back?
On your stomach, sorry.
On your stomach.
On your stomach, sorry. You're fine.
This
Gotta
is-
secure you.
You're not under arrest.
You're not under arrest.
The woman is being obviously, 2 things can be true at the same time, gents. Okay. You can look at the color of this young scholar and be like, well, he probably deserved it. And you can also say, well, the Foyd's being a retarded Foyd over here. Okay. And this is just a mockery of our culture, of our legal system, of our policing. It's just a whole concoction of America 2026 here. You can hate all of it, literally all of it.
The team, there's a shooting.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, we just bystanders. I didn't know you get cuffed up for being a bystander.
Quiet. Please, you're not making it easier.
I'm just working though, ma'am, and you treating me like I got something to do with it.
Please.
It's already bad enough for my skin this color.
Can you just sit down here? Can you just sit against the wall? Please, scoot yourself over.
This is crazy.
Hey, sit still.
She told me to scoot over there.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, the fact that there is a dog right here, like I've said my piece on dogs before, but I am never like getting mauled by a dog, not on my to-do list, okay? No, thank you. And not a furry type of dog, a real dog, okay? No, thank you.
What y'all want me to do? Okay, y'all confused and y'all look scared like y'all don't know who y'all want to shoot, dang.
It's not George Floyd, it's Derek Floydian. Right? Not George Floyd, Derek Floydian.
Hey!
Oh my gosh, lady, calm down. Jeez, like, I get it, but still, relax, woman. I don't think you have the right temperament for this. Chill. Jeez.
Like y'all don't know who y'all want to shoot, dang. I'm just working.
Hey, handcuff him. Hey, it's all right. Handcuff him. Handcuff the second guy. We're good.
I need your badge number, man. This is crazy. I need your badge number, ma'am. This is crazy.
You're fine. There's 2 officers that are shot. I need the police to be.
Oh no, the whole thing is terrible, right? The female gave them 4 or 5 different commands in the span of like 30 seconds. On your back, no on your stomach, back on your back, turn this way, no on your back, on your stomach, lean up against there. No, don't lean up against there. Don't move. She just told me to lean up against there. It's like, okay, that's fine. It's like, can you guys just like, I get that like they're, allegedly just innocent bystanders. Can't be too careful now. Honestly, can't be too careful now with quote unquote innocent bystanders. But still, like you could at least give them direct commands and just detain them in a, more efficient manner.
Cooperative and have some fucking dignity.
I can talk though, ma'am. I'm just working.
Those fucking cops that will show you how to talk.
Wait, go back. Was that a mega Latina accent I just heard?
Though, ma'am, I'm just working.
Those fucking cops that will show you how to talk.
Is that Eastern European or is that, it's Slavic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Slavic Russian.
Why? Why would you be an Eastern European woman past your prime and you're like, you know what? I'm going to go to Florida and become a cop and have to deal with Floridian problems? That's crazy. Well, the meme about Eastern European women like being crazy, they're like nice and pleasant, like right up until they're not. I think she does fit the bill like perfectly. I guess they have that in common with Latinas, right? That's crazy.
Needs to be cooperative and have some fucking dignity.
I can talk though, ma'am. I'm just working.
Those fucking cops that will show you how to talk.
I will show you how to talk. Yeah, in Mother Russia, we hang people like you for no particular reason. Anyways, 10 years past her prime, but fair enough. All right, now we've got more cops. Okay, it's the second half of the show sometimes just turns into the body cam section of the show, but you know what? It is what it is. All right, snow Latinas. That's funny. Now we have a couple different angles of a event that is very unfortunate. So Meridian officer fires 18 shots, fatally shooting a man, beating a 69-year-old father with a baseball bat on the front lawn. On Sunday, Meridian police responded to multiple 911 calls about a violent domestic dispute on Sagamore Road. Officer Offielli, I think that's his name, was the first to arrive and witnessed 38-year-old Robert Lee Jenkins III repeatedly striking his motionless 69-year-old father, Robert Jenkins Jr. That's a bad way for your lineage to end right there. Man, you're the third in your line, the third of your father's name. You beat your father to death with a hammer or with a baseball bat, and then you yourself get death by copped. Damn. Officer Affielli fired approximately 18 rounds, striking Jenkins III multiple times in the torso. The father was pronounced dead, and Jenkins III later died at Hartford Hospital from his gunshot wounds. Today, the Connecticut Inspector General released a preliminary report along with body camera. All graphic material has been removed, so we should be able to play this on YouTube, though. You know, be careful.
63, step it up. Put the fucking bat down. Put the.
So here it's difficult to tell on body cam because of how warped the image is, but this is one driveway to the next. I would say this is probably about 25 yards, if I had to guess. Somewhere, maybe 15 on the lowest end, 35 at most. But if I had to guess, plus or minus 25 yards away, right? You have a man standing facing you. There's a man on the ground who is having his head bashed in with a baseball bat. And, 25 yards with a pistol. If you are not trained, if you are walking, if you are high stress, which I'm not sure how proficient Offiella happens to be, Officer Offiella happens to be, 25 yards, not an easy shot.
Fucking bat down. Put it down. 63, step it up. Put it down. I'm gonna fucking.
So the first 7 shots, no effect. None at all. Shooting directly into a house behind him. Fire, he does a bill drill essentially while walking forward. From now, we've closed the distance. This is probably about 10 to 12 yards away, right? Bill drill, 10 to 12 yards away. Probably 0 hits on target. Probably 7 misses, 7 warning shots. Lockback, 17 plus 1, 18 rounds, starting at about 12 yards, ending at about 5 yards. A few effective hits. And yes, that is a baseball bat to his father's head. Just what a disgusting, tragic, horrifying, drug-induced, demonic influence situation. Terrifying. But also terrifying the fact that this officer put 18 rounds into the ether, and maybe 3 or 4 of them were actually effective hits on target. Party don't stop till slide lock. No, some of the earlier shots did hit. You will notice the guy reacting as he's continuing to beat. So I think that he is definitely getting hit. Although they're just not stopping hits until like the last 3. Yeah, shooting directly into the house. Yeah, the last 3 or 4 shots are what actually do it. We have a second angle of it here. So again, Connecticut police officer Anthony Affielli. Great, thanks. 3 to 7 yards, 17, 10 feet, died on the scene. Yep. And so here we have another angle of it here, which is, yes, very like graphic as to what is going on here. Like honestly, very disturbing. Can I click this? Jeez Louise. Not a good way to go out. The officer here on the left, you can see him standing. Again, not very far away. Eventually gets it done. And the woman screaming inside the house to shoot him. Stop it. Now, here's the thing, guys. Yeah, this is a long ways away to start. Right, so here's the in car footage of it.
Put the fucking bat down. Put the fucking bat down.
Right here, like he is assaulting someone with a deadly weapon. Right here, I feel like most of us who are even minorly proficient could probably put 5 or 6 rounds into the center of his torso, right? And I know that there's a house in the background, but I feel like there's got to be some risk to reward ratio there where you're thinking, if I put them into center mass, then they won't be going beyond. So they're going to, hopefully be stopped by, the perp's body. Or you have to remove yourself very quickly to change your background. But you got to do one of those two things. This guy chose to just put 18 rounds into the ether and probably a good number of them into that house in the background. He also could have pulled up a lot closer. I mean, there's a lot of different things where this situation could have resolved better. There was a chance that if he had shot 4, 5, 6 strikes earlier, that he maybe could have saved the father. Run faster to the target, anything, like literally anything he could have done better. He got to about 10 feet away, maybe 15 feet away at the end. And that's when he was able to actually land a killing blow or land a stopping blow, right? So just piss poor performance on the officer's part. And that's why officers need to train more, because there will eventually, for some of you, come a situation like this where your skills will be put on the line, and if they simply aren't there, somebody else pays the price. Yeah, and just look at him. The guy is just bashing in the brains of his father, continuing to do it unabated, as the man slowly walks forward, missing, if I had to guess, probably 70% of his shots. The second cop has the right idea, right? If you watch right there at the end, the second cop has the right idea, pulls right up to the driveway, right where he can immediately get out and engage him with the least possible, damage in the background. Dude, everybody, no, this is not a 9x19 problem. Listen, guys, you guys are crazy. There is no difference in terms of terminal effects between 45, 40, 9mm. Like, if you put shots in the right place, caliber is mostly irrelevant. 9mm, gonna penetrate and do what it needs to do. 40, 45, gonna penetrate and do what it needs to do. Like, you are crazy if you think that the difference between 9, 10, or 9, 40, and 45 is anything if you put all of your rounds right here. Crazy talk. Put the rounds where they need to go and you solve the problem. The problem is not the caliber, right? Absolutely not. There's no body armor involved. It's not like magical energy on target changes. It's like, well, 9mm only has 320 foot-pounds and 40 has 365 foot-pounds. So that would have really got him to stop there. That's a huge change. Rifles change. Rifles make a difference. But no, if you're shooting somebody and the bullets are landing where they need to go, caliber is pretty irrelevant, especially between pistol calibers. Like, the difference between 9 and 40 and 45, like, who cares? Put the rounds where they need to go. That's it. Whoever said 12 gauge, I love you. 12 gauge, yes, we did see a cop take out a pedophile with a 12 gauge shotgun at point blank range, and that seemed to be quite effective. What's up?
It does work.
Yeah, very effective. Very, very, very effective. All right.
I think I'm going to have to get on out of here. It's getting a little late.
All right. Appreciate it, Richard. Have a good night. Thanks for hanging out.
Letting me hang out.
Of course.
Guys, have a good night. Love y'all.
Have a good night, sir. Bye. All right. All right. Well, let's move on then, shall we? Unknown Reloader says 9mm kills the body, but 45 kills the body too. That's very true. Yes. Yes, indeed. Very much so. Well, let's move on to, we got one terrible, horrible story, and then we'll get to something funny. Okay, I promise there will be a slightly funny ending here. A little bit. Okay. Just a little bit though. It's not going to be too funny. Now, here we have one of the worst stories that we've covered on this show. Sydney childcare worker accused of sexually abusing more than 150 children. you should not be dropping your children off at daycare. You should be, the ideal situation for a child is a mother and a father, and the woman stays at home and raises the children. You can argue, okay, well, this private school, that private school, this co-op, whatever it might be, whatever that is. Okay. But I'm just saying ideally, okay. Woman stays in the household, raises the children, father works, blah, blah, blah. You need this 2-parent, holistic, great household. This is not the way forward. So Sydney healthcare worker Hamish Tate, now Hamish is a very funny name, has been charged with 329 offenses involving more than 150 children over a 16-year period. They released some more images of this. 22 alleged victims, adding 22 alleged victims of Sydney childcare worker Hamish Tate. And they released some photos of what the guy looks like. Now, this follows in my intuition of bald people are evil, right? I think there's just a natural thing about that, why women are repulsed by it. I think it's just a natural biological indicator of like the status of one's soul, right? So if you're balding or, it's not looking good for you, bros. Obviously, that's a joke. Okay. I know wonderful bald people out there. Not this guy, though. So schools in remote SA indigenous community on list of places where accused pedophile worked. Police investigating Hamish Tate, who faces 329 child abuse charges, have released a list of 55 locations where he worked or attended. The federal police investigation into an accused pedophile facing more than 300 child abuse charges has expanded to a remote community in South Australia. Hamish Tate, 35 years old, faces 329 charges of child abuse between 2009 and 2025. Now, 2009, 17 years ago, so starting at 18 years old, for half of his life, he's been abusing children. Hamish Tate, the charges include 162 counts of producing child abuse material, CSAM, 81 counts of filming a person engaged in a private act without consent, 24 counts of using a child under 14 for the production of child abuse material. Some 136 alleged victims are known to police, but a further 22 are yet to be identified. Tate was arrested and charged in July of 2025 when police seized almost 2.5 million files from electronic devices at his home. He has remained in custody. Police have established a website under Operation Moonbai, funny name, which includes a list of the 55 childhood education facilities where Tate worked or attended between 2009 and 2025, many of which are in Sydney. Police have not suggested he offended at all the center's name. Now, this is a terrible thing. Imagine being a parent, and you had your child in one of these facilities. You never heard anything, you never knew anything, but now you're kind of second guessing whether you willingly put your child into the hands of a monster. People are suggesting appropriate. I wish Australia was based. I wish they were actually cool, where they would do death by crocodile, right? That's such an Australian thing to do. Let the Aboriginals hunt him for sport. Let them get a little bit of their anger out. Something funny, right? It's Australia. You guys have got to do something. But unfortunately, because it's Australia, I don't even know if they have the death penalty. It sounds like he'll be rotting in prison for the rest of his life, where he gets fed 3 meals a day and gets health care and gets his own room and gets protected by the state and ends up costing everyone millions of dollars, when he should actually be beat to death with a baseball bat, right? What should happen to him is the same thing that happened to that other guy's father. Wood chipper works too fast. I'm saying that. Crocs is a good one. Spider chamber, also funny. Spiders and snakes, yes. A slow, painful snake bite. Australia is very woke, yes. We need Gary. Gary has the correct answer. Just let the parents take it out. The parents can dish out the justice. Let them all vote and figure out what the best way of punishment is, and then just go from there, okay? Blood eagle. Stingray barb. That's actually a very Australian way to go out. Yeah. The police have established a website. While the matter is before the courts in New South Wales and Tate has not been charged with any offenses in South Australia, a small preschool in a remote Indigenous community has been included on the list, which is the Indigenous people of Australia are such a interesting group, right? Because I think they have the lowest IQ out of any human subspecies. It's mid 50s. If you look into their history and culture, it's quite something. So the fact that this guy, who's obviously just a disgusting, evil monster who happens to be bald, is abusing children and then abusing children that are basically like retarded, for lack of a better term. Like, it just, there needs to be some permanent solution to these types of people. Now, if you're wondering about the etymology of the name Hamish, which is interesting, it does have a possible Hebrew origin, which is, I'm not saying that the guy happens to be Hebrew or Jewish, but I'm just saying that it's possible. From Hebrew is supplanter or holder of the heel, which is just interesting. It's possible there's other European ancestry as well, but it's just possible, just throwing that out there. Okay. I'm not sure if the physiognomy quite checks out, but he does have the demon look to him. Gross. Impalement Vlad style, then left for the Crocs. Sorry. I like that. Autistic Endeavor says, look up Polly's Island Community Church. Oh no, I saw you put this in there. I don't want to end on something upsetting, so unfortunately I will have to look this up. 2 hours ago. Oh my gosh. Well, this is why modern churches are, modern Protestant churches are such a turnoff, right? Anything that's not associated with some ancient tradition just falls into this sort of thing. Look up Polly's Island Community Church pastor and his wife and 2 other people arrested for letting a bad man work there. More last minute rage bait. Sorry. Thank you, Autistic Endeavors. I suppose we'll see if I actually thank you here. Polly's Island, South Carolina, the attorney representing a child allegedly assaulted at Polly's Island Area Church Academy says church leaders chose to protect their reputation over a 5-year-old victim. The lawsuit was filed Tuesday against the Polly's Island Community Church and Christian Academy, former Academy Director Nikki Howard, and former senior Pastor Don Williams and his wife, Guinea Williams. Attorney Kenneth Berger, who represents the victim identified in the complaint as John Doe, spoke with WMBF News about the filing. The lawsuit claims that in 2022, the child was caught recreating inappropriate actions, which he believed to be a game taught to him by someone at the academy. The complaint states that the child had never shown inappropriate behavior prior to the incident. When asked to describe who taught him the actions, the child description matched of a registered sex offender, Warren Spence Perry, according to the lawsuit. The lawsuit stated that the parents first brought the incident to Academy Director Nikki Howard, who questioned whether the child was telling the truth, and later contacted the child's teacher to ask whether the child had been spreading lies in the classroom. Berger says the child's parents took him to his pediatrician, who contacted police as a mandatory reporter. Police dismissed the report after determining there was not enough evidence to pursue the claim. One of the reasons they may not have enough evidence to pursue the criminal charge is because the actions of Pastor Williams, Miss Williams, and Nikki Howard in choosing to cover up versus justice on behalf of a 5-year-old, Berger said. Allegations against the church named defendants. The lawsuit accuses the Polly's Island Community Church and Christian Academy of deliberately allowing Perry to volunteer around children while knowing he was a registered sex offender. The complaint states Perry was placed in unsupervised contact with children, which the complaint says put them at risk. Of course. All defendants, including Howard and the Williams, are accused of negligent hiring, supervision, monitoring, and retention, as well as civil conspiracy, by giving statements to state agencies, by trying to silence victims and families and teachers, all because they knew what they were doing was wrong and was going to come at the risk of the finances and reputation of the church. And they chose to do it anyways. It is indefensible, Berger said. Absolutely disgusting. The pastor, the people that worked there, the other people that helped cover it up, absolutely disgusting. And the condemnation upon you will be immeasurable. How awful. Disgusting. Berger, as you say. It is an interesting last name. Well, thank you for that, Autistic Endeavors, for that last minute rage bait. But we are going to get into something a little bit funnier, okay? Something wholesome coded. Very, very wholesome coded. We have young scholars and doctors and astronauts. They're just doing the thing, they're reading the index card, okay? We're checking up on the homies. We're seeing how they're doing. Are they doing good? Are they doing bad? How is the inner city school system doing? How are my tax dollars being put to work? I'm just very curious here. So we got some young scholars, and they are going to wow us with their monumental intellect.
Come on, bro. What's up with your words, bro?
Now, I suck at reading and writing, of course, as a homeschooled kid myself. The gradual deterioration of the infrastructure required substantial rehabilitation efforts.
No lie, I'm smart, but like this right here game, these looking like college level game.
Nah, this high school level.
Hey, I'm gonna try my best. The gradual directional of the infraction requires subtraction, rehabilitation efforts.
Read the index card.
The architectural.
Pretty close. I rate the first guy a 9 out of 11. Pretty good first attempt, for a remedial, I don't know, high school or something like that.
Preservation project required meticulous planning and substantial funding.
Read the index card.
The character board had descriptions, directions that shed that.
The charcuterie board had scrumptious delicacies that dazzled the critics. Charcuterie, that's a fun word.
That's the situations.
You gonna be for real?
I'm dead ass, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Read the index card.
The restaurant's exquisite croissant and character rule.
He almost got it, okay? Score 1, he almost got it. He was very close. Don't worry about it, okay? They're slowly learning. We got one that almost got through the card.
I don't know what that say. What attracted discerning critics.
Read the index card.
The rememberable condensal. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Let's you read it.
The remarkably coincidental encounter prompted considerable speculation afterwards.
Do another one.
Read the index card.
Come on, bro.
Charcuterie. Charcuterie? Why would I want a cooter of a shark? That's crazy, man. Yeah, not quite. Anyways, they're learning, okay, and we need to be very supportive of them in their endeavors as they attempt to read like children. It's very funny. There was a meme I saw the other day. It's like, black people be in special ed and they're not even retarded. Kind of default settings for some of those guys. Crazy. Anyways, McLeod for 5 says, no wonder they're trying to make bulletproof vests illegal in that area. Oh, Florida? Or wherever those cops were at that couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, Connecticut. Yeah, not great. Well, don't worry. Mr. Affiella can come get you. Thank you, McLeod. Amrite Boy for 2 says, they wouldn't like my questions. Hard drive check time. I agree. Easy enough. Thank you, Amrite Boy. Appreciate that. Lag Demon for 5 says, I was just wondering if you ever fixed your TF Tactical SPSR lightning tap trigger. If not, would you file the frame or trigger blade safety? I don't even know where that is. I don't even know if I still have it. But no, I know that it was having some issues. I think it's just a bunk design because it takes out like one of the safety features of the Glock trigger. So while it's nice, it's short, it makes it feel like something else. It's not how it was designed. So I think it's just unsafe by design. So even if you get one that doesn't have the weird double tap thing, it's not a good design overall, and honestly, the more that I shoot and the better that I get at shooting, the less I care about what the trigger is. I was shooting stages the other day, shooting a bunch of different guns with like other people's like stock Glocks and whatnot. And the times between like a Cajun Shadow 2 and a stock Glock is like almost nothing. So it's like at a certain point, you just need to get good and just do it. Thank you, Lag Demon. I appreciate it, sir. McLeod for 5 says, I think we can track the rise in female officers in areas that are suddenly wanting to ban bulletproof vests. Oh, we're talking about, the what do you call Slavic chicks? Slicks? Is that a good word for Slavic chicks? Call them slicks. Thank you, McLeod. I appreciate that. Tark A for 2 says, typical Dodge owner. There'd be some stereotypes out there. Tark A, okay? Thank you, Tark A. Appreciate that. McLeod for 5 says, have observed a cop go through 2 AR mags to try and hit a 4-inch block about 5 yards away, hit nothing but pool noodle, even after being told the impacts. That's tragic, considering, if you're If you're 5 yards away, you can almost just reach out the gun and touch it, bro. That's terrifying. No, police quals have got to be one of the most hilarious things out there. Thank you, McLeod. Appreciate you, sir. And Dawson Lair, new channel member. Appreciate that, good sir. Thank you, thank you. Born Again Bloodbath, 1,000 gems, a loot box. Thank you. I don't know what that is, but thank you for the support, sir. Very, very kind of you. Thank you, Bargain Bloodbath. Emrai Boy for 2 says impalement Vlad style, then leave for the Crocs. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all, good sir. Thank you, thank you. All right, I think we're all caught up. I think that's it. I think it's time to get out of here on a Wednesday night, gentlemen. I hope you all are doing well. I thank you all for hanging out, for watching with us, for putting up with us. I think we got a regular stream on Friday, and then I'm gone all weekend because I got a major match up in North Dakota with the homies. So I should be gone Saturday, Sunday, but it shouldn't affect your guys' schedule at all. I am also finally working on the next video for the channel, which is, of course, going over the marketing on the Sons of Liberty Gunworks Mark I, where I get to talk some crack, talk some smack on Tasker Network once again, which will be very funny considering how pissed off he gets every time I do it. But with that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your support, for hanging out, for talking in the chat, for lurking, for making fun of me, for making fun of other people. I appreciate all of it. Thank you for allowing me to do this. No, I don't think I'm leaving you guys anytime soon. I don't think I'm going to get the job at T-Rex Arms, though, again, fingers crossed for the CEO position at T-Rex Arms. Okay, pray about it, ladies and gentlemen. But with that out of the way, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. Godspeed. God bless. Christ is King.